He's head to wind, but he's still on attack because, where was he? He was on starboard. All he's done is come head to wind. Technically, for the rules, he's still on starboard. He goes through the eye of the wind. Let's draw the wind. It varies through a few degrees, yes? This becomes important when somebody goes into a protest room and says, oh, but he was tacking. Watch very carefully. Is that boat tacked? He's gone through the eye of the wind that I've drawn there, but he's not necessarily through at all. So he's still in the eye of the wind. Now has he tacked? Yes or no? No. Who says yes? Who says no? And who says I don't know? Oh. All right. He gets around to that position there, which is the position he is going to sail off to the next mark. His jib just fell down. Pity about that, the halyard broke. And the main is let all the way out. Has he completed his tack? Yes. Who says yes? Who says no? He's completed his tack because he's on his new course. Don't care about his head sail. Don't care about his boom. He's completed his tack because he is on the new course which he will use to get to windward. Make sense? So you have to be super careful with them for the moment. When don't do that. You're following up and you say that he's tacked in front of you or tacked in your water. Be careful. He has not tacked and completed his tack until he's gone all the way through to there. Now, this guy comes up here, all the way up to head to wind. He goes through head to wind to there, 10 degrees, then he comes back to there. Has he tacked? No. All right, a lot of no's there. Who says no? I'll see more hands now. And who says yes? Apart from me. Yes, he's tacked. He's tacked from starboard to starboard. Because he started to tack the moment he went through head to wind. So he started to tack. He hasn't yet completed it, but he has started. And he's gone over to the port side. Hasn't completed on port. Comes back to here. He's completed his tack from starboard to starboard. And why would you do that? You may not do it deliberately, but when you get into the jury room and this guy's complaining about what you did, hello, yes, I came up through the eye of the wind and I went back to there. Of course, while he's tacking, he's got to do what? Keep clear of absolutely everybody. Somebody said give way. Just by the way, right away boats give room. Give way boats keep clear. The terminology is keep clear if you're the keep clear boat. Where's the man who's recording? Oh, good. I want to look at you, okay? Is it video? Is it recording his voice? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Anybody not here? Put your hand up if you didn't hear what I said. Thank you, Jerry. Be very careful what I say here today. I've got a very good friend from a long time, what, 40 years, Jerry? We've been at regattas together. I don't know that you appear in one of these photos, Jerry. I'm sorry, but the others do. So everybody's happy with rule 10, off the starboard. Everybody's happy with 11 and 12. Oops. Is everybody now happy with rule 13? No? No? I'm sorry, but I want you to be happy.
Crossed over beyond head to wind, and he was still on starboard?
No, he was on port, but he hadn't completed his tack on port.
Because you said he tacked from starboard to starboard.
Yes.
So
He only
now you said
completed.
he's
He
gone
only
from starboard to port to starboard.
He went over onto port, but
Yeah.
he did not complete the tack. He didn't complete the tack.
Right.
So So he went back through there and completed his tack on starboard.
So he was never on
But
port
he
tack.
was, at what point was he no longer on starboard?
Well, when he went through the eye of the wind by a few degrees. Now that man said something interesting.
Yeah, I thought, so he's not actually on port tack.
Well, for the purposes of the rules, he's tacking, rule 13.
Yeah, tack,
We don't
but
care.
He's not on port tack.
He's not on port tack yet. But he's gone on to port, but he hasn't completed his tack. But he's in the process of tacking, so he's covered by 13. Doesn't really matter a lot. Are we happy with that?
One question.
Yeah.
In my history of sailing, often the filling of the mainsail was used as a signifier of bringing on the new tack. Is that because of old rules, or is that just something you can use in the process?
Under the old rules, when I started sailing 16-foot skiffs, if you were in the wrong, you went behind the club with a bit of timber and beat the other guy over the head. They were the New South Wales Board of Trade rules. As to booms, never heard of it. Nothing to do with it. No. The sail does not have to be pulled in, and the jib can have fallen down. But the rules change every 4 years, which is a pain. Now, there is a rule book which I printed off the internet, which is the latest one, which is there. But where do I get some of my silly ideas from? Where's Jerry? Where do I get some of my silly ideas from, Jerry? Let me show you the number. Brian Willis. Anybody heard of Brian Willis? He's been chairman of about 4 Olympic Games, 5 or 6 America's Cups, the most famous of all international judges. And I did his seminar in 1994, the International Judges Seminar, and passed. And the year later I wrote to him and said, Brian, there's something in your book I don't agree with. Oh my God, the most famous of all international judges, the short, fat, ugly Australian has written to him and said, I don't agree with something. He loves it. He loves people that disagree with him, because that way he learns more. But where do we get all this stuff from? International regulation for the prevention of collisions at sea. Soren Krauss. Sounds a bit German to me. He's written on the rules. Do you know what world sailing was before it was world sailing? That's a senior citizen. Yeah, International Yacht Racing Union. They changed to ISAF and into world sailing. That's an Eric Twinane one. They're all written on these rules, which I told you are terribly simple. If you knew those 4 rules, go sailing. You're fine. You don't need to know anymore. You're safe. But then you could read this book and say, wow, some of that stuff's interesting. If you don't think it's interesting, don't go any further. But if you think it was, there's all these other books that I've got copies of here. Case books, racing rules. All these people over the years have written about the racing rules of sailing, because they are a touch more complicated than the 4 I gave you. Any questions so far?
You're tacking one.
I'm sorry?
You're tacking number 13. So as you're tacking, I thought it was when you're on a close hold course. That may be an old rule or maybe wrong.
Yeah. That's when you completed your tack, when you're on a
Once
close
you're
haul
close
course.
haul, yeah.
But a close haul course is not governed
Yeah.
by the set of the sails.
So it's a degree, it's at
Yes.
40 degrees or...
It's
yeah.
the course you'd like to be on when you pull your sails on and you start moving.
I often shout out, if somebody's approaching me, I'll shout out tack complete as a thing.
You can do that.
Yeah. So if there's somebody close behind me, or I'm thinking I'm going to like foul somebody, I'll shout tack complete so it's obvious to them.
Ooh, interesting. What does that tell the protest committee or the international jury?
We didn't hear that.
Yeah, what did he say?
He said when he's completed his tack and there's someone close behind him, he often calls out tack complete. What does that tell the protest committee? Now, first of all, he was attacking boat, so he's got to keep clear. Once he completes his tack, he's in front. He's now the right-of-way boat. But he called out tack complete because he was so goddamn close
Yeah.
that they might have been worried. And the jury will say, oh, perhaps you tacked.
Too close.
Too close.
Yeah.
I would never say that. another one that's often said, hold your course. Now if you're a port tack boat and you're approaching a starboard tack boat and you call out as the port tacker, because you think you're going to cross, you call out, hold your course. It's exactly the same scenario. You're saying to the protest committee, this is so incredibly close, I got to tell him to hold his course. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right with that?
It's a useful thing to let the starboard attacker know you, and use it to let him know I'm there, and I know he's there.
There's no harm in doing it whenever you're on the water. Where the harm comes is that when you're in the protest committee. If I was chairing it, I'd ask, why did you say it? You would answer, because it was close and I wanted him to know. Oh, it was close, was it? Are we having inclement weather?
Yes,
You told me it wouldn't rain. You promised me. So far, this is important.
Yeah.
Alright. I don't want to go any further until you're Rule 15 says what? Just on my brother. Anyone know what Rule 15 says? It's this gentleman's question here, in a way. You don't mind if I put it that way, because he did what I asked him to do. He asked a question that someone else was worried about. And that's good. That's positive. Did you know that hand cleaner is one of the best things you can use on a whiteboard? Let's do your one. Port and starboard, two boats approaching each other. The port tack boat comes in, tacks, and completes his tack just there. Who is the keep clear boat? Now, who is the keep clear boat?
well, assuming he hasn't given enough room, so the blue one's still got to keep clear.
You're right onto it, but let me get them to answer first. Who's actually the right-of-way boat? Let me check on that. Oh. I said I put this up here. Whenever you've got a question, come back to here. Under Rule 12, who's the right-of-way boat? Blue. However, he gained right-of-way by his own actions, and in doing so, he's got to give the newly obligated boat room, time, opportunity to keep clear. I'm doing this without his speaker. Can everybody hear?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So we're happy with that. He's come in like so. He is already the right-of-way boat. This guy's come in front. And what I've told you is already wrong. Mark is not always right. Let's go do it the other way. Let's do it the other way. Here's the right-of-way boat.
Red.
This time, red comes up. Right-of-way boat. Tacks. He's going through a tack. He's now governed by Rule 13. He's not the right-of-way boat. He becomes the right-of-way boat when he completes his tack just there. Now who's the right-of-way boat? Go back to here. Who's the right-of-way boat?
Well, red.
Absolutely. But he's gained right-of-way by his own actions, yes?
Yes.
He was right-of-way, then he tacked, became give-way boat, keep clear boat. He gained right-of-way by his own actions. He must give the newly obligated boat room, time, opportunity to keep clear. You're on blue. Have you got time to keep clear?
No.
No. So what are you going to do?
You'll probably hit him if you've got time to.
You're going to try not to run into him. You're going to yell out protest, and you're going to wave your protest flag.
Can I?
Is that an acceptable protest flag?
Should be beef back, hasn't it?
Protest flag red. But the book says something about it being any. Oh, I can hear him if everyone else can.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it had a cutout in it because it was the B flag, I think, for a protest flag.
Oh look, you're now going back to what it used to be. You're absolutely right. It used to be.
Old man.
Now it's only. Hey, take a look this way. You're not old, I promise you. There's a couple of us here that are older than you, and I'm even more older than him. Happy birthday for the other day too.
Thank you.
Is that a reasonable protest flag? Where should you keep it? The best place is to put it around a shroud and roll it up. This one is actually rollable, it's got a sticky to hold it down. But also have another one in your pocket. My favourite one is a piece of plastic conduit. You've got your flag on a sticker, you use that. Your flag's on a sticker, protest. Instantaneous. There's no question, I'll thank you. Okay, so he's protested. And he's then protested and avoided.
Well, while we're talking about red flags, who doesn't have to fly a red flag?
Who doesn't have to? Windsurfers, lasers,
6 meters below, I think.
below 6 metres.
The people here, yeah.
Yeah. If you're smaller than 6 metres, under the rules you don't have to. By the way, that can be changed for and against. You might be on 50 footers and they might say, as a class rule, you don't need, and we can change things. I'm going to be talking in the afternoon about race management. And there's a lot in race management, and I'm going to ask Jerry to help on a couple of occasions, because Jerry, you don't know, is one of the best. One of the best. He probably knows some of the rules better than I do. He's smiling at me and nodding. We could all say right now, go and grab yourself an opti or a laser or whatever, race down to the Manila Yacht Club, turn around and come back. First back wins. What are the rules? Get going. Go, now. That's all you need. You don't need a great big book of rules, just go. So anything after that, because they've asked me to talk to the race committee about running races with 2 or 3 race committee. I can show you how to do it with one. 18-foot skiff, Sydney Harbour, 1 race officer. Can do it. Not difficult. The book that I've got here is the Sydney Olympics one, 38 on my race committee. Biggest difficulty there was remembering their names. Is Edmund here somewhere?
Not
Not yet?
Not yet.
No, Edmund. Edmund Umali, who you may know, was on my race committee in Sydney for the Olympics in 2000. Right. Who's the right-of-way boat? Red. Blue is the keep clear boat. Rather than cross him, because he doesn't think he can, he comes up like that and luffs and completes his tack just there. Who's the keep clear boat? Who is the keep clear boat? Always the basic rule. Red is the keep clear boat. What rule has blue infringed? 15. He's gained right of way by his own actions. Now, what can red do? Turn up, turn down, he'll hit him either way. He can't do it. Equally, they come in together again, and this goes back to your original question. Comes in, it's a keep clear boat, yes? Port tack, comes in, tacks in front, completes his tack just there. He becomes, from port to starboard, he is now a right-of-way boat. But under Rule 15, he has not given him room, time, opportunity to keep clear, so.
Yeah. If red manages not to hit him, he's given him room to keep clear.
That will be your defence in my jury room, sir. No, it won't wash.
Okay, just check.
Because he will say he had to wiggle his easy sails, wiggle his to do something. But yeah, what you said is absolutely right. But don't try it, you'll lose.
It's by definition, if he hasn't hit him, he's given him room to keep clear.
No, that's not a definition.
English by the English language.
Hang it, cut. Where's my book of Tagalog? The French would disagree with you anyway, and the Americans won't understand. Sorry, are there any Americans here? I better be very careful. Are there any Americans here?
Hiding.
The rules I told you change every 4 years after the Olympics. So they're in Paris this year. 2025 there'll be new rules. Right at the moment there are people changing rules, writing rules. You know how to do it? You can do it. You write what you think the rule should be. You take the rule as it is, you write what you think it should be, you send it to the PSA. They look at it and say, hey, that's a good idea, but we'll change a couple of words. They change a couple of words and send it along to World Sailing, who look at it and say, not bad, good idea, but we'll change a few words. We change a few words and send it around the world for everyone to vote on. The French and the Spanish naturally will want to change it. The Americans won't understand it, but they'll change it anyway. And it'll go back to World Sailing as a proposal. And then it'll get voted on. It's just possible your idea gets voted into mine, a few of mine have, but then I was on the committee to help. But you can do it. If you don't like something, write in and tell them. Okay. This time he comes in again. He does what he does. Now you're on red. You know you're going to become the keep clear boat. What are you going to do? You're on red. Now, by the way, this is a race. We do want to win. We're not out there for fun. I'm sorry. This is not meant to be fun. You want to win. Okay? You're on red. What are you going to do?
Avoid collision and protest.
Exactly. You weren't going to hit him, because you would say that, and you're right. You weren't going to hit him. Puff up now. You've altered course. Protest, I had to alter course. And you were going to have to anyway, probably. So let's do it early. Get in there early and protest. If anyone disagrees at any stage, please say so. Jerry, you know your rules. Anyone disagrees, I'm happy for you to do so. Please.
Or communicate with him before he attacks.
Sorry?
Or communicate with him before he attacks.
No.
No?
No. There's only two calls really on the water that are acceptable. One is protest, and the other is water. Yeah, water, red attack. And we'll come to that. But there are no other words you need to say. Particularly any four-letter words. It's not nice. You can give signals if you like. Alright, that's 15. Happy with that? Ordering course, give the newly obligated boat room to keep clear. Rule 16. This is the right-of-way boat. Leeward boat right away. It starts to luff. You're on red. What might you do? You're on red. I need to know what you're going to do. We're racing. Luff a little bit. He luffs a little bit. You're on red. You luff a little bit. Yes? You've got to keep clear. He comes all the way up here. You go all the way up there. Under what rule? Hasn't attacked yet. Only laughed. You're entitled to laugh. He's done it slowly. Thank you, you're right, but so far, all he's done is laugh. He has not attacked, he's not go through the eye of the wind, he's entitled to laugh. Red has just got to keep clear, he's a keep clear boat. All the way up to and including hit to wind. Has he attacked yet? Nope. You've got to keep clear. Now what happens to two sailboats that are sitting out there side by side? They tend to drift together. Okay. And they hit. Oh dear. That is sad. You're now the protest committee, alright? You're the protest committee. Who are you going to protest? Who's going to win this one? You both of them protest, by the way. He protests under what rule? 11. Windward boat didn't keep clear. He protests under what rule? Luffing boat not giving the other one room to keep clear. The right-of-way boat's got to give room. So he will claim he wasn't given room to keep clear, whereas he will claim the other one did not try to keep clear. What's your decision?
It's Blue's actions that's caused the collision, so
Or Red's lack of action has caused the
they
collision?
did. They tried to avoid it.
He kept laughing, he kept laughing, he kept laughing, he kept laughing. Fairly slow, he kept responding, but they've come together.
I mean, it could have tacked away, I guess.
I got to have a vote on this. Got to have a vote. Okay, you've got to be one way or the other. I'll take any comments you like before you do, but you've got to make a decision. By the way, here's the right-of-way boat. Let me throw one in. Remember this one. Did you try to avoid? Just throw it in, but then forget about it. It's there, but forget about it. Which one has caused this collision? Okay, who's going to disqualify blue? Hands up, please. Who's going to disqualify red? Okay. The international umpires have been following this and watching closely. And the way international umpires work is there's two of them in the boat. One has the blue, one has the red. I'm on blue, my boat is luffing. The red umpire says, my boat's responding. Blue says, I'm luffing and I'm doing it slowly. The red umpire says, I'm trying to keep clear. So they're talking to each other the whole time. So that when it happens, they know who they believe is wrong. Makes it fairly easy. It makes their decision very easy. It's either a green flag or a red flag. It's a tough one, don't do it. The easiest thing if you're on red, when you see what's going to happen or what is happening, tack out of there. Get out of there. It's easier. Then you can't be wrong. Except of course that he's coming up here. So what might you say? Who's the man who says? You can now.
Complete.
No, different one. Blue is laughing. Red might call to him, I have to tack. Or he might call green, go up, I've got a boat below me. And these are reasonable calls. They're not in the book calls, but they're reasonable calls to make. When I turn that way, can you still hear?
Yes.
Okay. Two boats approaching each other. They are 500 metres apart. Okay, they're 500 metres apart. Who's the right-of-way boat? Who's the keep clear boat? Green is the right-of-way boat on starboard. Red is on port. Being a very good sailor, not wanting to get into trouble, he decides to duck away like that. Now he's going to avoid green completely. Yes? Green looks him in the eye, 500 metres away, and says, I'm going to have you. And dials down at him. Anything wrong with that? Anything wrong with doing that?
At that stage, I think.
It's fun. I recommend it. And it's what they do in match racing.
Yeah.
Aha, but he didn't like that. Because why did this happen? Because there was a favoured side of the course for the next mark. And they're trying to set themselves up to be the favoured boat at the next mark. That's why they're doing it. So, green comes up, red comes up. They're now 100 metres apart. Okay? Red says, no you don't. Dives away again. Green dives away with him. 100 metres. Any problem? We're sailing Oz Gooses. No problem? Or is there a problem?
Just have to wait 10 minutes.
Red goes up, green goes back up. They're back on a collision course again. Now they're boat length apart. Right?
One boat left.
Yeah, one boat length apart. Red dives because no way does he want to be involved in the collision. He might want to be up here somewhere, but he's not going to be involved in the collision. He does that. Green aims at him again.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. has not given the obligated boat time to respond, and green does not know, nor does red, which is the best way to go to avoid a collision. Rule 16. He's gone. Right away boat, altering course. And I tell you what, there's more protests decided on Rule 16 than just about any other rule. And port tack, if they hit, is exonerated. He doesn't get disqualified. He's on port tack. He does not get disqualified. If the jury knows what they're talking about. Which, by the way, I'm told we get about 50% of it right. Why is that so? I would say that most judges get slightly more than 90% of that right. But who's in the jury room talking to them? The sailors, telling entirely different stories. So at the end of the day, the book says we've got to do it on the balance of probability. Does that depend on who tells the story best? No. Does it depend on who brings in the most witnesses? No. The jury just works it out. And on the balance of probability, they make a decision. They can't be right every time. They cannot. Because they're listening to you sailors. Who, by the way, never tell lies. Where's my piece of paper? Hang on, I've got one here. Oh, that one says lies. There's another one that says sailors don't tell lies. And they don't. But they see things from an entirely different point of view. Entirely different point of view. This guy is seeing it from where he's sitting. This guy is seeing it from where he's sitting. They can't possibly see it the same way. They can't. So they tell their story as best they can, with a little bit of favour to their way of thinking. And the jury's got to interpret it. That's 16. Do we like 16? There are other examples, but if you like it, we'll leave it there. 17. 17 is a bit interesting. Well, they're all interesting. There's the right-of-way boat. That's not that important starboard boat, so it's just blue and yellow. There's the right-of-way boat. Blue. Clear ahead. Little number. There it is for you. 12. Yellow comes in there and overlaps by that much.
Overlap.
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 Who's the right-of-way boat?
Yellow.
Because of rule, the boat has to keep clear. Rule 17, though, talks about a boat coming from clear astern to leeward and within 2 boat lengths. He places a limitation on himself, and that limitation is, let's make it 2 boat lengths. 1, 2. He's come from clear astern, he's gained an overlap, he's the right-of-way boat, he has to keep clear, but the obligation on him under Rule 17 is he's gained that overlap by his own actions by coming from clear astern to leeward and within 2 hull lengths. Okay? And as such, he can't sail above a proper course while they're overlapped. While they're overlapped. How do they become unoverlapped? Keep going faster and get clear ahead. He slips back again because this boat catches up. Now they're overlapped, yes. Here's the keep clear boat. Who's the keep clear boat? Blue. What are the restrictions on him? Well, there's never none. But the same Rule 17 doesn't apply because he didn't gain that overlap by his own action from clear astern to leeward and within 2 boat lengths. All of those have got to apply. Does that make sense? Coming from clear astern, which he was the keep clear boat, he's now the right-of-way boat with a restriction on him, and right-of-way boats give room. You can't sail above a proper course while they're overlapped, unless he tacks. So you can come up like that and tack, but otherwise you can't luff while he's within that 2 hull length distance. good.
We talk about proper
What
course.
about dominating?
Proper course.
Thank you. Thank you. That's good. We're going to do proper course. Your Jerry's absolutely right. I haven't told you what is a proper course. On the page like that. This boat has got to get from there to there in the shortest possible time. There's a prize.
Oh.
A prize for winning this race.
Ah, yes.
If the wind doesn't vary, it's coming from the north at 10 knots. He's starting there and going straight across to there. What is the shortest possible course? A dead straight line. And that becomes his proper course. But where does the wind do that? Nowhere. Okay. He's sailing along here and the wind goes soft. What might he do? He'd go a little higher, yes? Then he gets a beautiful gust. What might he do? Dive away. Then the wind goes left. What might he do? Go up. Then the wind goes right. What might he do? Yeah. And then it steadies up again and he ends up there. That is his proper course. Yes? That's his proper course. Now, thank you for that, Jerry. I might have forgotten. Thank you. They're coming in like so. Let's not worry about how they got overlapped, but they're overlapped for the moment. No, we'll do it. They got overlapped by blue coming over the top. All right. Who's the right-of-way boat? Yellow. Any restrictions on yellow?
Up to head to wind.
Well, the restriction is under 16. It's not in all changing. Rule 15. Right-of-way boat ordering course has to give the obligated boat room, time and opportunity. How high can yellow go?
Head to wind if he's not doing any.
Head to wind and on to Africa. It's a right-of-way boat. He doesn't have a proper course restriction. He can go as high as he likes. Because the overlap was formed by blue coming over the top. There are no restrictions on yellow apart from giving room, time, opportunity. He can lump him all the way up as high as he likes. And away he goes. Yes? Now bring back in rule 17 and yellow causes the overlap. Who's the right-of-way boat at the moment? Blue.
Right of way boat.
Blue's the right-of-way boat at the moment is in front. Yellow comes in there with an overlap. He's come from terrace stern to leeward and within 2 boat lengths. The restriction is he can't go above a proper course. That's going to be his proper course. They come along like so, all very lovely. The wind goes a little bit left and yellow comes up like that. Any problem so far? No. No. He goes a wee bit higher. Who's going to judge the wee bit higher? Well, he's going to yell out proper course, isn't he? You can do that. I just said what's in the book. It's just some good things to call out sometimes. Yes, he will call out proper course. He will call out, it is my proper course. When the boat keep clear. They go a little further. And there's no judge boat out there watching this, by the way. There's no judge boat today. Yellow goes up that far. Do you reckon he's gone above his proper course? Yes. He used to keep clear boat. But what happens in the jury room?
You'd have to ask about sail settings. Did you change your sail settings?
I'm not arguing, but when did he
Jury
what?
will probably believe yellow.
Hang on, just a minute, sorry.
When did you get the overlap?
Where's the man with the microphone? He's given up on it. Oh, perhaps I should hand it around.
The question in the jury room should be when did the overlap start?
Oh, the overlap started back here, and the overlap was caused by yellow, who was governed by not sailing above his proper course. In they go. He's come up to there. We now agree that he's above his proper course. But blue is the keep clear boat, and you are on blue. Are you going to protest?
Yes. Yes.
Very difficult.
Okay, you're blue. Are you going to protest that yellow has gone above her proper course. Are you going to protest?
Yes.
You might fly your flag, yes, and you might yell protest, but will you go ahead with it?
You need evidence, don't
Huh?
you? You need evidence.
Who is the right-of-way boat?
Depends where the wind's blowing.
Yellow is the right-of-way boat. You go into the jury room and start arguing. Try and prove you went above a close haul course. Pretty difficult. Pretty difficult. So, in a protest situation, if they hit, by the way, only if they hit. You know, if they don't hit, well, okay, he's broken a rule. He hasn't properly kept clear. I'm going to come back to keep clear in a minute, Jerry. You haven't reminded me of that one. I wouldn't be protesting. I'd be yelling protest, but I wouldn't do anything about it because it's more likely he'd go unless you had a lot of witnesses. And witnesses on your own boat are useless. I said to you coming down in the car, you bring someone into the protest room as a witness and he gives a fabulous story, absolutely fabulous story of what happened. Wow, finally I know what happened. By the way, where were you at the time of the incident? Oh, I was down below packing the spinning out. Useless. Or, will your crew give exactly the same evidence as you gave? Yes?
Yes.
Oh, so you told them what to say then. Yeah. A party to a protest is allowed to bring in as many witnesses as they want. The jury cannot stop them. I don't like your hot. No. But very often the jury's got, as I had in one, OB16 World Championships, over 100 protests. Over 100. You don't want people coming in and wasting their time when you know where it's going to go. There was a very famous Spanish judge, and we were in Mexico, and somebody came into the room to give evidence. About to sit down, this judge said, "Don't sit down, you won't be here long enough." Okay. Keep clear. Resolve. Is blue keeping clear of yellow? Yes? Yes? Anyone says no? They're not touching. He's keeping clear. He can sail his course, and yeah? Is he keeping clear? They're not touching. Is he keeping clear? Come on, I need an answer. Is he keeping clear? No. Don't be shy. They're not touching. For the parents in the room, it's blowing 70 knots. The seas are a couple of 100 feet. And your kid's legs over the side. Is he keeping clear? No. Not only that, but he can't alter course in either direction without making an immediate contact. Yellow cannot go that way or that way without making immediate contact. And that is actually the definition of keep clear. Is he able to change course in either direction without making immediate contact? However, is yellow allowed to do that? He's the right away that and make immediate contact. No, he's not. Just because he's the right away coach, just because he has to keep clear and you don't think he is, and you want to catch him under the rule for not keeping clear, doesn't give you the right to do that. Rule 2. Shall we go there? Let's not. Yeah. Maybe later. And if we do, you've got to tell me the difference between 2 and 69. There is a difference. Nah. No, you don't. I'll tell you. All right. So you've got to have all the course in either direction without making immediate contact. So that's the keep clear rule. There are a number of definitions in the book, and I suggest you read them. And I've marked off a couple I want to tell you about. Those two boats are overlapped, yes? Yes? Are those two boats overlapped?
No.
Let's cross the, hang on.
No. Years ago, for the purposes of a mark rounding, and I'm not doing mark rounding here, they were overlapped for the purposes of a mark rounding. However, in their wisdom, well sailing have changed it. Are they overlapped? There's no marks around. Are they overlapped? Are they overlapped? Who read their book last night? You didn't. Are they overlapped? Yes. Because
They're going to win now.
well sailing, I don't care where they are, they're overlapped. They're both sailing below 90 degrees to the true wind. Doesn't matter where they are. One's there, one's there, they're overlapped. Do we care? No. But they are overlapped. They are overlapped. And that might come into play when they get closer. Because both of them have gone from there to there, and I say both of them are now sailing below 90 degrees to the true wind. They are, for the purposes of the definition, overlapped. That was one of the ones I wanted to mention. This might be, no more going. For the purposes of start finishing lines, we're going to come to this in a minute.
Can I just ask you about that before you complicate it with other things? If they're overlapped and they come together.
I
One's
don't
on
complicate
port. Okay, but they're both, one's on port, one's on starboard,
Yeah.
and one's overlapped. Okay.
Yes.
So the overlap rule dominates over the port starboard rule. I think you've got to keep.
No, at the moment, no, because I said they're miles apart.
Oh,
Just over your question, please. I want it later. Need it later. There's a start boat. That's a starting line. Beg your pardon? That's a starting line. Sorry, Jerry, I'm thinking of this. That's a starting line, Jerry. Yes? Sorry, I had to think about it. That's a starting line. Because the race officer is standing here and he's looking to the most windward side of that mark. So you haven't crossed the line until you've crossed the line between him and the whole of the buoy. But the finishing line's the other way around. In both cases, we're giving the best advantage to the sailor. Yeah? You happy with that, Jerry? Where's Ray Lee? Lee, you like that one? Where are the other race officers? Are there other race officers here? You should know about this. Which boat were you on 24 years ago? Mark boat. Finish pin. We'll talk about finish pin later. Right, that was just a quick diversion. We were doing a couple of quick definitions for you. I might throw one in about OCS. The race officer has scored you OCS. What are you going to do about it? Oh, he scored you. You didn't know you were over. He scored you OCS. What do you... Sorry? I was ready for you. Yeah. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to put in a request for redress. Not pointing at you or her, but you don't. The race officers don't. He should never have got you. Don't go in there and say there was someone else ahead of you. That doesn't help the one. Have you got any evidence? Have you got any witnesses? Whatever you do, you cannot lose a request for redress. You can't lose it. You may not win it, but you can't lose it. You enter the jury room, The race officer's called you OCS. Hopefully he's got it on his tape recorder. He plays it to the jury. This is simple. Thank you very much, but sorry, no go. But you can't lose it, so go in there, if for no other reason, for the practice. And can I tell a quick story? I was the racing rules advisor to the Australian team in the round Texel race. Have you heard about it? 300 catamarans on a starting line going in Holland, around Texel race. And the Australian guy got the finish gun. But he was declared OCS. Oh dear. He came to me, how do I get out of this? I gave him a few clues. He went into the jury room and came back and said, no, I'm still OCS. And gave him a couple more notes. Go in and ask this question, and that question, and another question. Didn't win again. Third time, lucky. Got in there, and finally they gave in, because there was something about their process and their procedure. And when you're a race officer and you're a racer, and when I'm a race officer, I hate this happening. But you've got some smart judge out there giving advice on what to ask about the jury. And this particular one was interesting in that it was his position on the finishing boat. There's a finishing boat. The person recording should always sit in the same place. He can sit there if he wants to, he can sit there if he wants to. It doesn't matter, as long as he doesn't move. And this guy had moved, and there was a photo of him having moved. So the question is, where was he when he recorded, the start boat, where was he when he recorded that OCS? And where, by the way, was the race officer on his boat? You've got a pin-in boat, you've got a starting boat. Here's a question, where were you at the time? And very often they moved around because it suited them to move around. Okay, move on. Always try and win protests on, always try and win requests for redress on OCS.
From the point of view of the sailors, shouldn't it be from the blue flag?
What is your normal finishing pin here, Jerry? Or starting pin?
Boy.
No?
Boy.
A boy. It doesn't have to be a flag, it can be a boy.
But if it's a boat, so it's
If it's a boat, what flag are you flying, Jerry?
Are we talking start or finish? You're talking a blue flag.
finish.
Blue.
Blue.
So does the other in the case of a finished boat, would you also have a blue flag on the pin and finished boat, or do you just use the bow?
It would be defined. It would be defined with the star carrying a blue flag.
Right. So does it matter where the person is on the finished boat, right? On the pin and boat is a blue flag.
The pin-in boat doesn't have a blue flag. Oh, the finishing line you're talking?
Yes.
No, doesn't have one. He's just a pin. He's a boy, but he's probably got, what do you use, an orange or?
Normally red, but yeah.
The orange flag is an interesting one. Some people use it as an on-station flag. And they'll say after one race, in major events we're talking, the coaches can come in. The race is finished, the flags have gone down, there are no flags on the boat at all. The coaches are allowed to come in and talk to the sailors, bring them water, bring them drinks. But when the race committee is getting ready to start, they fly an orange flag, which means in 5 minutes' time we're going into sequence. We also use it when the start finishing line on a windward leeward course, you're not allowed to sail through, when they decide to come. But they'll make it the start finishing line by putting up an orange flag. Now we're on station, now you can't go through. Do you use that system at all? It is used sometimes. Have we answered your question?
No.
The finishing line can be a boat, it can be a boy.
Yes.
If it's a boy, there's no flags. If it's a boat, there's a flag.
But if it's a boat, and there's a blue flag on the boat, you can also mark it as the other end of the finish line.
I wouldn't be using a blue flag. What would you be using?
Whatever you define as, you know.
We have flexibility there.
Yeah, 'cause what I'm asking about is you were talking about the guy moved, right? And shouldn't he always be where the blue flag is?
Well, yes, he should. Yes.
Okay.
But I've seen finishing pins that don't have, finishing boys, sorry, boats that don't have a flag on them.
And in that case, it's the bow.
Stern.
Just like.
It's a stern. The quicker, the thing you'll get to in the shortest
Oh, yes,
possible
yes,
time.
because it's the finish line.
Yeah.
Right, it's the start.
Finishing line is the closest you'll get to when you're finishing. The start line is the furthest you'll get to when you're starting.
That's the start.
Does that make sense?
Unless there's a flag.
Yeah, the flag then designates. You want to talk about flags, this becomes,
If you have a mock-up, for example, you can't get on the stern, right? You have to have a flag. Because you can't get to the stern.
I'm going to come to mark rounding in a minute, but there's a couple of interesting things that we could talk about before mark rounding, if you like. First of all, having gone for an hour and a quarter, does anyone want to take a quick little 5-minute glass of water? Yes or no?
We have coffee.
Are we right to go again? Okay. That was raised during our little break. I didn't resolve this in everybody's favour. Did we or did we not resolve the situation where these boats luffed and then touched? Because you were the jury, what did we decide?
You just said don't bother doing it, tack away. Get out there. That's how it ended.
Yes. But in the jury room, who's more likely if only one gets disqualified? Who's more likely to be disqualified?
The red boat.
The red boat. Why?
Win-win.
Always the keep clear boat. All this one has to establish is that he luffed in reasonable time for the other one to keep clear, and he didn't try to keep clear. They will also ask him, why did you hit under Rule 14? He's got to justify it. There's a possibility both will be disqualified, but it's more likely, on balance, that the red would go. Yeah. Okay. Where's that young man that served on my Sydney Olympic team?
Ed.
Edmund, where are you?
It's Edmund.
Look for a
There.
mad dog somewhere.
He has his dog there. It's on the phone.
Good.
Ed!
You on the Edmund?
The Peter. No.
Edmund, can you tell the assembled masses, please, can you tell them all how much experience you had before you first came to Sydney in 1999 to do the pre-Olympic regatta? How much experience had you had in race management?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing. Okay? So don't be afraid of going out on a race management team if somebody needs you. He then became part of the Sydney Olympic team and He's gone on to bigger and better things and now quite famous. Alright, I have a question for you before we recommence. Who's the right of way boat? Blue.
Downwind here and downwind.
Who's on board?
Blue's on port.
And yellow's on starboard. So who's the right of way boat? Who's the right of way boat?
Well, okay, if it's not overtaking,
It's clear port and starboard. They're not even moving. It's clear port and starboard. Who's the right of way boat?
yellow.
Everyone agree yellow? Okay. You're out on Subic Bay. The wind is blowing at about 25 knots. You've both got these huge great spinnakers up. All of a sudden, the blue boat, the port tack boat, hits a wave. Quite a big wave. Slows him down dramatically. His spinnaker collapses and he runs straight into the back of it. Who's wrong and what rule? Think about it. And I got to have hands up for this one. Everyone has to vote. Everyone. Who's wrong?
Let's slow down, it's changed.
Okay, who says yellow is wrong? Hands up, please. And who says blue is wrong? Thank you, sir. Two of them. Very experienced sailors, both. Why is blue wrong? He's on port, and port has no right to be that close. That's how close they were. Yellow can be there. Yellow can sail as close as he likes. He's a right-of-way boat. It's not clear astern, it's port and starboard. He suddenly stopped. He had no opportunity to keep clear. He was keeping clear. He had no opportunity to keep clear. He hit a wave, collapsed, slowed right down. He went into the back of it. He's wrong. Now, for those of you who have got that wrong, join half the sailors in the world. No, 90% of the sailors in the world. And in every course I ever give, they get it wrong. Trust me.
Okay, can I ask a question then?
Absolutely.
So why isn't yellow overtaking by definition at that point?
Not
He's going
overtaking.
faster.
Just an article have I got one for you. Would you pass that book back to that man and ask him to show me the definition of overtaking?
Ah, right, okay. I'll read it. It's not
We don't overtake one. We don't overtake in sailing.
clear,
Not in
just
racing.
clear astern.
You're talking the upcast rules. Everyone know the upcast rules backwards? Forwards? International rules for the prevention of collisions at sea.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with racing. And that brings in coming from a bath of even the 22.5 degrees. You know that?
I've heard of it.
Yeah. They're the upcast rules. Ignore them. We're out there racing under the racing rules of sailing. He's not overtaking. He's sitting behind him, having a lovely time, eating his sandwich. They're sailing out there in 25 knots. Lovely weather. Nice steady breeze. He's not overtaking. He's happy to be where he is.
Shouldn't be there.
Why should he be there?
So,
He's too close. It's dangerous.
Too close.
It's like-
Just a minute. Too close. Too close.
dangerous.
Sorry to do that to you.
He's going
Thank
to
you.
cause a collision.
Thank you for making it interesting.
Yeah.
so if the blue boat realizes that they're vulnerable and steers out of the way, and yellow follows to
Well, if I
re-establish.
was on blue, and this guy had progressively got closer and closer, I'd jive.
Yeah.
Now who's the right of way boat? It's that easy. Just jive. Don't sit there like he was sitting. He's sitting there saying, please come and shoot me. Please run into me. Yeah, don't do it. Okay. You're all happy with that. You remember 14, don't you? You will not run into a cat. Especially in the best. We're going to do some mark rounding. Everybody knows the mark rounding rule, or the fundamental of the mark rounding rule. Give the guy on the inside room. Yes? Yacht Club, what colour do you paint the 2-hole length circle?
Watercolour.
There is a circle, right? Around that buoy. And there's a zone, it's called a zone. The word I introduced to the rules 15 years ago. A zone. At the moment, Blue is comfortably looking at going around that buoy. That way. We're going to go around in 2 different ways. We'll start by going around. Blue is clear ahead, right away boat, and time to marker it, yes? So around it goes, yellow follows. We're all very happy. Now, next situation, we're coming down here, well outside the circle, well outside the zone, yellow gains an overlap. Now who's the right away boat?
Yellow.
Who said yellow? Who's the right away boat? It's overlap. Who's the right away boat? The Lewis boat's the right away boat. Yes? Lewis the right away boat. But what do right away boats sometimes do? They're polite. They give room. They're right away. They're right away. And the right away boat will give you some room. Polite. So, they come. So far they're not in the zone. If they get to the zone and they remain overlapped like that, then blue is still the right away boat. Yellow is entitled to room. Like I said earlier, just remember this. That car on a roundabout on the inside of you, give him room. Same. And they go, and around they go. The blue's going a little bit tight. More on the yellow. Looks like you're going to hit blue. It's going to be a protest. What might you do? Who's got the recorder? Turn the recorder off, please.
Are you the blue boat or the yellow boat?
To the yellow boat, you're about to hit blue, who hasn't given you enough room, and you're entitled to room. What are you going to do? Hit the mark. Doesn't that prove it? Hit the boat, hit the mark, still want to give you enough room. You didn't record that, did you? Is that reasonable? Yeah. It's going to prove it, isn't it? It's going to prove it. What was the old rule about hitting rounding marks?
You have to go around it.
No, there was one before that. Rules way back. If you hit a rounding mark, go home. It's all over. Then they changed it to this incredibly stupid rule that if you hit a rounding mark, you've got to go round it again. Hello, there's 100 boats coming around to go round and you're trying to round it again. God, that was dumb. There's been some dumb rules over the years. Anyway, yellow's entitled to it. Now, here we go again. Yellow gains an overlap out here. And they keep going and they keep going, and at some stage blue says, because blue wants to win this process, I broke the overlap. And yellow says, no, you didn't. But they were overlapped here, yes? So what is the jury going to find? They were overlapped back here. Blue says, I broke the overlap. Yellow says you didn't. Yellow's got a guy on the foredeck going, well, he's got one on the back arm. And they go into the jury room, both saying different things. You broke the overlap or you didn't break the overlap. What's the jury going to decide? Because the evidence is balanced.
Well, on balance. Is that what you want to say? On balance.
The evidence is balanced. Blue and yellow are giving contradictory evidence. It was broken or it wasn't broken. What's the answer? I don't expect you to know, but have a guess.
This should allow yellow room. It's going to avoid the
But that's
collision.
just going around the buoy room for the sake of being nice. But from the point of view of the rules, there's silly things all work. The jury will decide based on their last known position, and the jury will ask, were you overlapped back there? And the blue says, oh yes, we were back there. Good. then you still are. For the purposes of the mark rounding rule, if you were overlapped back hanging 500 metres away and it was never broken here, it can't be broken at the zone. Okay, we'll get the next one right. They were not overlapped here. They got to here and yellow claimed an overlap. Blue says, no, you're not overlapped. What do you think the jury will decide? No overlap, thank you. You can't make or break it at the zone, so the jury will take it back to what existed way back here. Peter.
What if blue comes way up like this and then comes way down like that and breaks the overlap?
Cannot. Because they've changed it from mark room to sail to the mark. And he's now denying him room to the sail to the mark. You've got to read the definition. They changed it 2 books back, I think, 8 years ago. It used to be just simply mark room. Now it's room to sail to the mark and room to sail from the mark, which makes a lot of sense. So we're all happy with that. Yeah? They're both coming towards the mark. They've got to go around it that way. Who's the right of way boat? I better check, hang on a minute.
Yellow's on starboard.
Yellow, starboard. I said to you, I put this for a reason. Go back to it every time. Every time. Go back to the basics. Right of way boat. Right of way boat sometimes give room. If they're both going to arrive there at the same time, right? Both going to arrive at the same time, who's going to be the inside boat? Everyone agree?
Yeah.
Yellow's going to be the inside boat. Yeah. And you also said that yellow was the right of way boat. Yes? So yellow is entitled to room and he's the right of way boat. It's a nice position to be. Even though they've come from the opposite side. So blue has to give him just that little bit more room. That's not quite the words in the book, but I'm not reading the book here, I'm telling you what it means. He's entitled around that with a good deal of comfort. If it required him to jibe, he must jibe at the first reasonable opportunity. What's reasonable? First reasonable opportunity. And blue follows him around. By the way, who is now the right of way boat? Right of way has changed. He was entitled to mark room and still is entitled to it because he was overlapped. And until he's clear of the mark, he's entitled to that room. And only at about that point, when he's clear of the mark, can blue luff him high. Happy? Should be questions. There's some blank faces. I'm not into blank faces. You're allowed to ask difficult questions. You're allowed to tell me I'm wrong and stupid. But do it nicely. All happy? What way do we normally go around March? Why? Because of what you're about. Why? If there's a boy right out in the middle there, why will you go around it like you said before?
Because it's better it's safer from a collision standpoint.
Correct. So what do they do in match racing? They go around the other way. Now we're at a leeward marker, remember? Same thing. Right away boat. Keep clear boat. Give room. Was he overlap? Was he not? All that's the same. What's slightly different though is when one of them comes in from this side. Once again, who's the right away boat?
Starboard.
No. But we're going around the other way. This time the port boat's got attacked. You've got a giant boat. They're both going to get there together. Yellow's the right away boat. Yellow has to give room. But because he's the right away boat, he's only got to give room for him to round in a seaman-like manner. Previously, it was more like a I didn't say the word tactical. Before, it was more like a nice, comfortable, relaxed, tactical round. Now, all he's got to do is give this keep clear boat room for a seaman-like rounding. Who on earth is going to judge one or the other? At the basic level of sailing in clubs and even in nationals, you're not going to pick the difference. But I just tell you what it is. So around we go, all very happy, nothing else changed. You like it? Right. Now we're going to go to the windward mark.
Is there a definition, is there a new definition of seaman-like water?
No. Not some of it.
Because it would be quite different in 25 knots of wind than 5 knots.
Absolutely. More dangerous than 5, you can't believe it. Who goes sailing in 5 knots? Hello, who goes sailing in 5 knots? Windward mark. 18.3, I seem to remember, was discussed in your car yesterday, and I had some girls that were telling me how 18.3 works. Would you like to take the floor and explain it? Does that mean I explained it badly to you, or you didn't understand it, or what? What a perfect answer. So does the mark rounding rule apply to the windward mark? Is there a mark rounding rule for the windward mark?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
That being rule 18.3.
Does it apply to boats on opposite tacks? No.
No.
Does it apply when the proper course of one but not the other is to tack? No. It applies when they're both on the same tack. Now, here they are, coming up here like so. There's the right away boat. Yellow's on starboard. He's not only the right away boat, he's inside the room, yes?
Yes.
So you give it to him. Now, we come to a rule called 18.3, which is a bit of fun. We're outside the zone at the moment. It's called a zone. And yellow gains an inside overlap just there. Remember we talked about gaining an overlap from clear of stern to leeward and within 2 boat lengths? Yeah? So he can't sail above. Sorry?
3.
2. Within 2 overlap we're talking about. So he can't sail above his proper course. Okay. They're both in the zone. Right away boat on starboard. Port tacker comes in, both in the zone, and tacks like so. And in doing so, forces blue to go above close haul. If the jury's there watching it, and there can be no misunderstanding about it, then he has broken it. 18.3. He's broken. Alternatively, as that happens, blue elects to dive below him, what is known as a late inside overlap. The late inside overlap was caused by blue by yellow tacking in the zone, inside the room, despite it being late inside overlap. It's been around for years. Not always understood.
Who's got right of way when the blue tacks below?
No, it's tacking. So you're saying they're coming in like so, they're both in the zone, yes, blue comes in. We're in a zone now, so you can forget your pause and start. Blue tacks. People do this, they want to get around first, they tack. But in the process of tacking, yellow is forced to sail above her coastal course and completes the tack. It's forced yellow to sail above her coastal course inside the zone. Blue is wrong.
Yeah, but the second.
That microphone's been working.
Yes, yes.
Can you give it back to the lady? Because not everyone can hear.
The second situation where the blue had to go below the one who touched. And he said inside.
Both inside the zone. Blue tacks like so. Yellow, rather than go up, elects to dive.
Yes.
And gains a late inside overlap and is entitled to room. Late inside overlap, entitled to room. Now, if they did it out here, for example, they're coming along, blue's in the zone and yellow comes there. No, not entitled to room. Not entitled to room. But under that situation, rule 18.3 is wrong if yellow goes above close haul, or if yellow dives below, blue has to give yellow room. So we like it. Are we happy with that one? All right. Obstruction. What is an obstruction? Taal volcano, the volcano is an obstruction. Yep. Right. You're sailing along like so, alongside, coming to this obstruction. If blue gains an inside overlap there, within 2 of her boat lengths of back, she's entitled to room at that obstruction. Not unlike in some ways a mark, entitled to room. And blue would give her room and then happily sail past the volcano. Yes? If it's a late overlap, in other words, blue is already into the zone around the island and yellow forces her way in, then she is not entitled to room. But she's in there. Blue can't run her into the island. It's not nice. Not really. Burnings. Yeah? So if someone gains an inside overlap, rightly or wrongly, don't try and deny them space. Does that make sense?
So blue should drop that.
Sorry?
So blue should drop that.
Yes. And if blue protested and it ended up in the jury room, yellow's going to be claiming I gained the overlap before the 2 whole length circle, or two whole lengths of the obstruction. Blue says you didn't. Who's likely to be disqualified anyway?
Because they go back to where they were before, when it was last known. That's what he said.
But who's the right of way boat? I know what you're saying. You're talking about the prove one way or the other.
Yeah.
Let's leave that one,
Okay.
please. So more likely to be disqualified is the keep clear boat. Yellow. Yes? Is a keep clear boat. He went in there, shouldn't have went in there. He's not in there. Or better end. Shouldn't have went. Right, do we like that? As I say, there's whole books written on all this stuff, and you can read the permutations and combinations of it all.
How about if there's another boat?
Thank you. We're sailing in here like so. There's no overlap. Doesn't come in. We're going up here. That's where we're headed. We're coming into a a shoal. We don't know how deep it is, but yellow is entitled to believe she's running into shallow water. So she's going to hail blue, is way back here, so she's going to attack. And her call is going to be water. Now, yellow hails for water. It is blue's obligation then to do one of two things. You know what one of those two things are? Attack, that's one, she can do that. Alternatively, she can say, you tack. Blue can call yellow to tack. If she does, she takes on the responsibility that yellow can do that safely and get out of there. Either in front of or behind. So if blue calls, you tack, she's taking on that responsibility. That make sense?
And it becomes yellow's responsibility to attack, right?
Oh yes. If yellow calls for water and blue decides to tack, then yellow must tack immediately. Yes?
And as this happens and calls for water, blue doesn't say you tack, but yellow tacks. Without permission from blue.
Are you the protestor or the protestee? And the rest of you are the jury.
What
are we going to do?
I don't want to hit the rocks. I called for water. So
Yellow's call for water, does not want to hit the rocks. This is, by the way, what is known as a safety rule. Yellow has called for water and blue has not responded at all. There's been a collision. What are you going to do? Remember, yellow's going to be on fault when they collide. If the evidence stacks up the way you just gave it without going into a lot of detail, I'm going to be favouring yellow. Maybe the port tack boat. We're going to find out how deep it is. By the way, it's a visiting boat. He doesn't know how deep it is here. I understand it's fairly deep. Yellow doesn't know that. Yellow might be calling a bit early. That's all right. She thinks it's a safety call. She calls. Blue must do something about it. I think that's too easy.
If blue says you tack, yellow must tack right away. And
Immediately.
blue has the option, because blue knows that the reef is far away, blue has the option to keep going and then tack and then become the inside boat.
Yes, but if she says you tack,
Right.
then yellow must tack.
Must tack.
And either go behind or in front. And blue's got to allow her to do that.
Yes.
Blue has to allow her to do it. It's a safety. Happy? Yellow calls blue. This happens. Happens all the time. Yellow calls blue. Blue immediately calls red. Not because she needs water, but because the boat below her does. I've got a water call! Nice and loud. Red, who's been sailing there for the last 10 minutes anyway, knows what's going on. He's watching what's going on. Respond, respond, respond. It's safety. It's dumb to do otherwise.
Circle back to that rear end one.
Oh, yes. Please do. Catch me out if you can.
We didn't hear that.
The question, he wants me to go back to the port and starboard, running up the back of the guy in front,
Yeah. Going downwind.
going downwind. There's the port tacker, there's the starboard tacker.
Yeah.
He's right behind him. He's keeping clear, he doesn't have to keep clear, he's the right away boat.
Right away, mate. The other one's doing his thing. Yeah. I got the impression from you that this wave came out and smacked him, and you know, the guy faltered in the red boat, and the other one rear-ended him. Yeah.
Yes.
So I got the impression that the wave, from the way you described it, was extraordinary in nature.
Act of God.
Yeah, force majeure.
It's not in the rule book. Act of God is not in the rule
No,
book.
I know, but I'm just thinking more from the jury's perspective. At some stage, you have to be cognizant of it. because of the jurisdiction that you're in.
No. No. He's got to be. He's the keeper of the boat.
On force majeure, no boat would be advantaged or disadvantaged.
Well, whether I sympathise with your, and whether they sympathise with your point of view, that's the rule.
Yeah, but if I'm in the jury room and I don't like it, and speaking as a lawyer, I may go off to the court. That's the only reason I was.
Goddamn lawyers in jury room.
No, but something
All right.
you need to be cognizant of. You're in a jurisdiction.
Now I didn't set him up for this, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
here I was in Doha, and the boy from Doha who was meant to win his class, everybody said he's the gold medalist for sure. He got flagged twice for pumping. So the committee went up to the Emir, who sent his 2 London barristers down to see me. This was fun. And the fellas in the, the white fabulous gear that they wear were yelling and screaming and carrying on. The English barristers were being like lawyers would be, right, listening, gentle, polite. And after half an hour, they decided we were right. But from your wearing your lawyer's hat, would I invite you onto my jury? I'm about to. Been offered a lot of money to give expert advice when a jury has found, after a collision, doesn't matter who was disqualified, the guy was hit in the back with a boom. Badly, badly injured. And the lawyers have been pretty swift about this. It happened in 2020. And the lawyers are working on it now. They're always very swift. I haven't even got that make it. But lawyers do tend to drag things out a little bit, and they asked me 2 months ago would I do it. They're sending me a brief at the moment on how to give expert advice on it, which is going to cost them a lot of money because I know it's Supreme Court in Australia. So the lawyers are getting paid a hell of a lot of money. I want some too. 60-page document. It's going to take some reading to decide what the rule book doesn't cover. Contributory negligence doesn't cover it. And what you're talking about in some ways is a bit of contributory negligence here. He should have known better because of the conditions. That's not in the book.
Oh, I know it's not in the book. I guess mine was a leading question. It's worth noting that yes, that's the rule book. But however, wherever you apply the rule book, you're in a jurisdiction.
Yes.
And that jurisdiction will always take precedence over the rule book.
You're bringing up something I brought up in Subic Bay on a President's Cup jury, giving a talk, and I talked about what I call the grandstand rule.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the grandstand, you don't know the rules at all, you know nothing about the rules. You're sitting in the grandstand and you look and say, that wasn't fair. Jurisdiction, if you like. But you're sitting in a grandstand, you see something happen, you don't know what the rule is, but you know it's not fair. You've got to go and find a rule to make it. You've got to go and look at what you just talked about, and I agree with you. Try and satisfy.
It's just,
That was the point I was making. You need to comment.
Actually, this is in the rules.
What?
That.
That, yes.
Yes, it's in the rules. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but the argument is this. There's the boat that is sailing, and there's a boat that's coming behind him, and the argument is that I'm just sitting on my merry way, I'm not changing my course, I'm not doing anything, and this other guy came from behind and hit me. Is that right?
No.
No, that's not the argument?
No, nothing to do with that at
Oh,
all.
okay. I misunderstood.
I mean, it's
to
just
do
drivers on the
with
same tack.
No, no, no.
The
he's
rule's
on
quite
board.
clear.
Yeah,
He's wrong.
yeah, I'm not arguing with the rules.
No, 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 no.
Just making the point, was it to be expected situation with regards to the prevailing conditions, the wave conditions? I got the impression it was a wave out of the blue, I could have been wrong, but it still stands. Was it an extraordinary wave that occurred, thus a force majeure on both boats? That was the rule.
Either way, this guy, knowing the conditions, and I did tell you it was blowing 25 knots, should never have stayed. As this one got closer, the port back said, whoops, this is not looking pretty, I'll drive out of there.
Maybe, or maybe he thought, shit, there's going to be a big one. I won't drive because there's I don't know. I can't
But
foresee it.
remember, he's always the obligated boat, and he's done not to do
I'm
something
just
about it.
dealing with the incident itself, not the end. So was it a force majeure? A force majeure means something coming out that was wildly unexpected, out of the blue, a wave that was a double wave, it was twice as high as the other ones, and bang, it went down. So the way most courts in the world would see it is a force majeure, not to be expected, therefore neither boat is to be penalised or advantaged. Bang.
If something breaks on the red boat, okay, just changing a little bit, okay, rather than a wave,
Okay.
Gust.
if something on the red boat, like let's say,
The spinnaker halyard breaks.
Yeah.
The spinnaker falls down. It
Yeah.
goes in the water.
whatever, yeah. So is that force majeure?
No, not really. I mean,
Can I
you
just
know,
stop you both?
had they checked all the? I mean, I just.
It's just simply
I'm
like,
just-
guys,
all
we
I'm
are
trying to-
complicating. We are complicating
Yeah, we're
an issue,
complicating, yeah.
which at our level, what we're talking at, we should not complicate.
So can I go back to for a simple answer to a simple question, which I'm confused now. Okay, so you got the guy behind on starboard, the guy in front on port.
Yeah.
So the guy on starboard has right away. That's what you're calling it. But he's going faster than the guy in front.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's overtaking both.
No, he's
not
not
over.
overtaking.
Sorry.
He's catching up.
He's catching up. He's clear behind. Yeah. So in that situation, he's got to stay out of the way, right? But the other way round. The guy behind is on port tack. The guy in front is on starboard tack.
Hang on. You want to change the tack?
No. Sorry, actually won't. The guy behind on starboard tack. Are you saying there is this rule where it says the boat clear behind or the boat clear ahead has rights over the boats clear behind? Doesn't come
really
in.
important starboard. It's the
Doesn't-
same here. Look.
Yeah, I know.
Approaching each other like that. The port tack boat ought to do something about that fairly quickly.
Yes.
They're going to hit.
Okay.
Do something about it. Same here.
But there's a rule, isn't there, that says the boat that's clear ahead has rights over the boat that's clear behind. That's behind.
Yeah, that's rule.
But it's on the same tack. Yes. That's clear. Thank you. That's what I needed.
All right, let's do
Okay.
something else. They're approaching like that. Starboard tack right away boat. Ah, here's an opportunity to use a real boat. Wait a minute. You're sailing along on a Hobie Cat at 20 knots. He's on a mono slug, going 3.5 knots. You are starboard tack boat. You've got right of way. Are you going to call him to tack? Are you on a catamaran doing 20 knots going to call this guy who has to keep clear? Are you going to call starboard on him? Well, as a catamaran sailor, I promise you I'm not. Because what's he going to do? Slowly, love. Slowly, love. I would get in the bloody way. Don't call him. You don't have to. Dive him like that. Dive. He's a bloody nuisance for being there in the first place. He's a monoslug. Sorry. But that brings up this point. Does this guy have to call him? By the way, you've got a witness back here to what's going on.
Does he have to call starboard?
Does he have to call starboard? No, he doesn't have to call starboard.
Oh, he can come.
He can call. He can call if he's right. Hold your course, mate. Hold your course. Why? Because Red is smart enough to know that there's the top mark over there, and that's where he wants to go. He does not want him to tack. So he ducks. Hold your course, mate. Hold your course. Through you go. No problem. Through you go. By the way, having waved him through, you better not protest him later. He's made a big effort, waved him through. Yellow sees this and says, a breach of the port and starboard rule. And he protests. He's on the water. It's an incident he witnessed during a race on the water, and he's entitled to protest. You are yellow, would you protest?
Yes.
Come on, my favourite's up. Would you protest?
Yes.
The hell with it, you're out there racing and having fun. Leave it alone. He wants to do what he can do. Come into my room, I'll probably find a reason to get rid of you. We don't want third party protest. God damn it. We're having a fun time racing. If he was happy, and he was happy, there is no issue. There is no issue.
So,
Even if they hit, even if two boats hit, port and start, or attack, whatever way they did, there's a slight hit. If the boat in the wrong, sorry, if the boat in the right doesn't want to protest, there is no issue. Instant. No protest. If he doesn't want to protest, he doesn't have to. They're mates. They didn't want to run into each other.
just as a little bit, compared to what you said a while ago about poker courts. If red shouts, hold your course, is blue obligated to hold their course?
Not obligated, no, he's the port take boat, he's got to keep clear. It's his duty to keep clear. But he would like him to keep clear by continuing sailing. He's giving him that option. Because it's a smart thing to do. He wants this boat wants to go up here. I heard a shrill voice in the background. Mark is here.
Just for clarification, you have to mention there's no reason to protest if both deal with each other. But it could be they want to establish who pays for the damage.
Remember?
Establish who pays for the damage.
Oh, well, if there's been damage, I think it's more likely that someone's going to protest. If there's damage, hell, probably. Two port tack boats approaching a starboard tack. What are some of the options here?
Red goes behind the yellow boat.
Okay, that's the first option. Red decides to duck behind. What's blue going to do now? Because he's also on a collision course. There's one of these beautiful boats in the way. He's got his anchor out, he's having lunch. He's in the way.
Yellow goes behind.
If red goes behind yellow, inside overlap, both entitled to room. So if red ducks behind yellow, he's got to give blue room to go with him. But there's an alternative. That alternative is this. Exactly. Red can call blue for room to tack for the obstruction, and a port tack boat is an obstruction to the boat. Red can call blue to tack, which he must do. And if blue tacks, what must red do? Tack. As soon as you're not having fun, say no. I ain't finished yet. Start line, where's Jerry? I might need you, Jerry. I'm going to do a start line. Which end of the start line is the start boat normally? Safe. Is it like a pin or a boat?
Orange,
A boat.
orange bit? Oh, okay.
Ten.
I need more space. Isn't it? Please. Have you actually got a rubber for this board or not?
No.
No.
I'm gonna get one of what you've got.
This solution is not as good as some, but it's working.
No, it's the board that's really old.
Ah. You think it suits me then, do you? I was sailing.
Your icicle was, has a wet bottom.
and I make one of these up. This is a great indignity, but I'll make this. You sometimes probably use catamarans and stuff. It's quite comfortable.
Yeah.
I was sailing in Hong Kong with about 10, 15, maybe 16s. I happen to know the lady race officer on this boat here. Quite a nice, friendly lady. We knew each other well. She was from Hong Kong, a damn good race officer. But the line was 3.5 miles long or something. Way too long. So what am I going to go up and say? Hey, Mary, that's a bit bloody stupid, isn't it? The line's too goddamn long. What did I say to that? Mary, quite away. Can you see the other end of the line? Oh, jeez, no, I can't. Thank you very much. Straight away, it's the line up. You can do it. You can say that to the race officers if you say it nicely. If they work out what they've done wrong, they'll fix it. Okay. Start. Is there something I can draw a straight line with? Yeah. Hold that up the other way. Yeah. No, the other.
Oh.
What flags do you normally use for starting the average boat race to start? Papa, blue Peter or yellow? India. Papa or India?
We use a class flag.
Papa? The average race, Papa. It's 3 or 4 minutes before the start, or the last 10 seconds, what the hell. This guy comes tuning in here on his 18-foot skiff going incredibly fast, crosses the line like that, and the gun goes, and he does that. Is that legal?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes? Why not? Good way to start.
Depends on the flag.
Exactly. If the I flag was showing, can you do that?
I have to look it up.
In the last minute.
Can't remember them all.
But the I flag in the last minute is not showing, is it? Is it? Not in the last minute, it's not coming out. Under the I flag, you can't be over the line or the extensions of the line in the last minute, correct? Which race officer looks behind him to see who's over this extension this way? Peripheral vision, good. Oh, I just ordered this one, sorry. Race committee sees 2 boats run into each other on the race course. Where's Edmund? Edmund, you see 2 boats. Now you will remember what you were told in the briefing. You see 2 boats run into each other, sailboats during the Olympics.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I recorded it.
No, you didn't. Come on.
I forgot.
I stand
No,
front
you
for all
did
of
not
that.
see anything.
What were you doing at the time? Doing up my shoelace.
Okay, yeah.
Now, Brian Willis was the chairman of the Olympic Games jury. He called in, we had 4 race courses, he called in the 4 PROs and said to us, right, if you see, if your committee sees anything on the water, make sure you record it, make sure you're there as a witness, make sure you protest it, and then he left the room. Yeah, Brian, sure, no way. I've got other things to do. I might have had 38 people on my race committee, but they're all busy. There's things to do out there on the water. No, we don't do. And as for hitting my start boat, good heavens above. Nobody ever hit my start boat. Like a bloody scratches on the thing to prove it. People don't hit start boats. Don't look at it. Because where were you supposed to be looking? That way. That way. Okay. 10 minutes before the start, you've read entitled a room. Pick up 10 minutes before we start. Yeah, 10 minutes. Quite 11. No flash. You ready to entitle the room?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Of course he is. 6 minutes before the start.
Only entitled to on the final vote.
With he's right. But in 2 knots of breeze, with 4 minutes to go, do you think they're approaching the line to start? In 20 knots of breeze, with 10 seconds to go, are they approaching the line to start?
Yes.
You're in what's known as a grey area. And it's the only reason we have international judges because we have grey areas. We live in grey areas. Lawyers do too, don't they? Yeah. Don't go into a grey area. Stay out. It's a dangerous place to be. Because it's full of incredibly old blokes who are judges. Incredibly old, some of us. Grey area. Grey area. Stay out. What's another good one? Oh. Over the line early. Yellow's over the line early. We're under a puffer flag. Let's stay under puffer flag. It's easier. Another vote, please. Yellow was over early and is now about to return. How much right away has he got to have a court taken and started taking? Louder, please.
No.
None. Got to give way to the whole line. Returning. So if you're over early, you're returning. Okay. Over early. These two boats are following each other into the start line. He sees he's going to be a bit early, so he slows down. Slows right down there. Slows down. Boom comes into the back of the front that. He's not moving forward at all, and red runs into it. Who's wrong? Oh, sorry, what? And blue starts drifting backwards. There's this fabulous current running down here. Yellow starts drifting backwards and hits red. Who's wrong?
Yellow. Going backwards.
Who said that? It's your turn, sir.
Am I wrong?
It's not happened yet. He's drifted backwards.
I thought he was going backwards.
The boat clear astern has to keep clear. He's drifted backwards. Now, your neck. He pushes his boom out like that and starts sailing backwards. Boom out.
Yellow.
Yellow. It's a sailing backwards rule.
Yellow.
You've read the book. Imagine we've got a whole lot of boats here all lined up at the start. And red realises he's a bit early. So he starts to lull. Blue's a bit early. Oh, any more boats? There's a whole lot of them here. The one down here says, take it up, mate. Take it up, mate. Take it up, mate. All the way along the line and saying, take it up, mate. To which each one in turn is responding, I can't, there's a guy below me. Take it up, mate. I can't, there's a guy above me. Take it up, mate. Until you get to here. And he says, I can't, there's a start boat there. And my rule is you can't make a boat do what a boat can't do. You can't go up any further. I can't go up, pass it on. So down the line they pass it on. Oh, I can't, there's a boat above me. What else can you do? No, nothing. What else happens on start line, Jerry?
Swearing.
Never. Oh, that's not a very good board, people.
The soap didn't make it any better.
I don't think that's real metal. There's a little bit of metal behind it, I think.
Well, I guess you have to stick to wood.
That ain't wood. There's metal behind it. Seats quite low there. I told you, Arvin. I told you. That's why you brought your piddly little tiny rule. Alright, boats, barge. That boat.
It's the wind, it's the wind. It's the wind.
Hey, race officer, watch this yellow's barging. Nah, actually nothing. He's looking down the line. He's looking down the line. Do you prefer to be the sight line sighter when you power up? Do you prefer to sight the line yourself?
I prefer to. It's better at it.
You have a safety call.
I have the video.
Video. Who holds the video? You. What do you have in front of you when you're sighting the line? You know what you should have in front of you when you're looking at the buoy down the other end of the line? No. Because if you're standing with the mast in front of you, you're looking through the mast, at the other end of the line, it's obstructed from you. Straight line between you and there is between your eyes. Don't have anything in front of you at all. No. And as soon as somebody completely obscures that boat, or buoy, they're over. Don't have anything in front of you. You agree, Jerry, or you'd rather have something there? Some people have a bit of wire. They don't have anything. Don't like anything.
Best to
Struck
stand
on the
back.
back. Sorry?
If it's a mast, it's best to stand back.
You can see. So, nothing there. Now, tape recorder. If someone's going to film the start, it shouldn't be you. You should have your own clear, naked eyes looking at it. Have someone standing behind you up higher if you like. If you've got a big team, then have somebody else. But if you like doing the line yourself, do the line. And have a tape recorder. And have your pin-in boat have a tape recorder.
Do you have the video?
I've never used it. We didn't in the Olympics. And subsequent Olympics, which I don't like. Coaches have all got them. And they're hopeless. They don't tell you what you want to know. Tape recorder. And you're caught into a redress hearing, and someone's complaining about that silly protest, the silly race of it, doesn't know what you're doing. Jury will ask for the tape recorder. Oh, listen to it. Here's what you're listening to. With 1 minute to go, I'm now talking to my tape recorder. With 1 minute to go, GBR 1 is over. Australia 2 is close. Australia 2 is now over. Singapore 3 is over. No, Singapore 3 is back again. Now I can see, Filipino 4 is over, well over. Oz 1 has dropped back again, continue to look, GBR, this GBR is still over, we're talking through the tape recorder the whole time. Anybody take back, if anyone doesn't take back, they're on. You get to the end, individual recall. What's an individual recall flag look like?
A white with a cross, a blue cross. White with a blue cross.
On any race committee vote when I've got a say in it, and I did in Sydney Hobart races, how big was my individual recall flag and where was it? Tablecloth size in the bow of the boat. And it's the first flag to be ready. The guy with it is standing there with it in his hand like that, because my default situation on a start boat, this should be for this afternoon, not now, is individual recall. It's going to be yes or it's going to be no. Individual recall, upper gun. And on goes the gun. I'll tell you how to beat it in the jury room. You only hear one gun. It has to be not very often does the race committee shall do something. They may do something, they will do something, but there's only one shall. And they shall make a sound signal with individual recall. If you go to the jury room and there's only one sound signal, but there's an individual recall, how does the sailor beat it or try to beat it? What's the race officer's answer? The individual recall gun sounded. It was the start signal that failed. That's naughty, but it happens. Anything else on the start line? On the start line? Let's do a finish line. Sorry?
The answer on the body.
Don't know.
You just sanctioned yourself.
allowed barge. He did.
Why?
Why did he barge? He wanted to fit in.
No, why can he not barge?
Sorry?
Why can he not barge?
Well,
I know.
there's not room to go in there. What am I not thinking?
Which rule is it? Is that what you're asking?
Nobody said it was going to blow with wind.
Those rules apply when you are at the start when the boat is coming in barging.
Approaching the line to start, he's not entitled to room. If he's already there, you've got to get, the blue's got to give him room. But if he tries to come in, whether he's approaching the line to start, he's not entitled to room, but you're going to give it to him anyway because where else can he go? And then you approach it. And the race commissioners see it, but they won't be very helpful, usually not. Is there something else in the question I haven't covered?
There's no proper course before the start.
Oh, yes. Good thinking. Two boats approaching the line to start. Red starts to luff. Is he entitled to do it? He's a right away boat. He's luffing. And luffing to the point where he pushes green over the line, like so. Is he entitled to do that? Yes?
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, red comes from clear astern to leeward within 2 boat lengths. So think of this one. Is he entitled to luff?
No.
Well, yes. Yes,
That's
he is.
almost the right answer, but not quite. The answer is yes. He's entitled to luff. Because there is no proper course before the start gun. So up they go, start gun goes, he must pull away. Yeah, no proper course before the start gun. Cool.
Starts.
Yeah.
I have my. Can we
He
discuss
asked me
about
27 questions in the car yesterday. He picked me up at 12 o'clock and we arrived here at 9:30. Quite a ride, he's a slow driver.
Yes, I have. I flag, Z flag, and the E flag, and the black flag.
I asked the question yesterday in your car, and nobody knew the answer. What colour is a black flag? I don't know, I don't use them.
Yeah. But the I flag, can I ask for, because we're going to do, if I understood the I flag is this way, right? This is the start line, and this is the extension. And this is the extension.
Yeah.
The I flag says that if you're over this, or you're over here, before, during the 1 minute,
Before the
1 minute before the start,
Yeah.
then you're over.
Yes.
And you only have to go back before the start.
After
You're-
you're done.
after-
You've got to be behind the line at the start.
Yes. But if it's, that's the I flag, right?
That's the I
If
flag.
it's the Z flag, there's a triangle.
Yes.
But if you're in the triangle during the 1 minute, you're out. Is that what it means? No, penalty.
Well, you're actually,
You're already OCS.
you can come back.
You still can come back before the start.
Yeah. Come back and start directly. Yes.
And then you're still.
go around the race because it's
Around the end, yes.
No, that's
Around
the
the,
U-
it's called around the end.
The U flag.
The I flag is round the end, isn't
Around the
it?
Oh,
end.
the Z flag, sorry.
Is it?
I flag, no, it's not.
Want to read it out?
You've gone into the Z flag.
Yes, yes.
Put the triangle.
Ah, yes, okay.
Can I suggest something here about those flags? If you see a different flag on the day, look it up because they are subtly different, and you're not going to remember it from now to your next race start. Oh, what was that I flag for? What was that Z flag? You look it up on the day. Don't you? Well, that's what I have to do.
How many people use Z flags?
I can't remember.
I've never used one. I've only used the black flag once in 30 years or something.
The Z is fairly new edition, no?
Sorry?
It's fairly new, isn't it? In the history of racing rules.
What?
The Z flag. Oh, it's been around a while. Which one's the newer one? Which is the new one? You. Okay, you want to look. That's what I mean. We have to look it up because we're all.
So do I.
You're not going to remember it from here.
I think every race should be started, if all possible, under the Papa flag, with a pig flag.
Going back to starts, if you hit a buoy, the pin end buoy, you've got to go around it. So
Yeah.
go restart.
By the way, it's about you'll know you're hitting.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And of course, that's the only time when you hit a mark that you actually go around it again, because if you hit a mark on the course, you just do the penalty. Is that right?
You're not actually rerouting. What you're doing is you're hitting him and going around there, and you're not actually having to round him. You might start that way.
Okay, because you're already over by definition. Okay.
Just a crazy question. The one was barging, the yellow one.
Yeah.
So what happens if the one who's barging hits the race committee?
Well, if I'm on the race committee boat, I'm not looking, I'm not interested. I only have one thing in my mind, OCS. I'm looking down that line. All I care about. What they do back here is up to them entirely. But as I said, I'm saying this is a
Yeah, self-regulating.
self-managing. The sailors manage themselves. They do what they think they should do.
Can I rephrase Cherry's question? What should the yellow one do if he knows he's broken the rule by hitting the mark? What should he do?
What should he do?
Yeah.
Well, if he's hit him,
No, he's hit the committee boat at the back.
we'll go back and do one.
Which is
tack,
it?
One jibe followed by one tack and one jibe.
720. He doesn't go. He's not deemed as over.
Well, he's not over.
No, he's not.
And if he does go over, he's also got to do his penalty and restart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to the penalty flags, what's the difference between the U and the I flag?
You're up there, I'm down here.
Do you want to borrow the rules? You can read it, and then you'll know.
Yeah, go read.
Just read something like that. The best thing, because
I've
it's
never
so
used the
subtly
U
different.
flag. The U flag is a lesser version of the black flag in terms of your ability to restart the race, I believe. Do you use the U flag? No. You know what it means? No. Don't use it. That's an
There was the Korean Sailing Association
Oh, they would.
on the J class,
Yeah,
J70 class.
read it up.
And we
Sorry,
got
I've never used the U flag. I only read it up.
Okay, the difference is, I'll tell you, because he's asked the question. If it's U flag, okay, he can restart the race if the race is restarted by the race committee for some other reason. If it's black flag, he can't. He has to go home, even if the race is restarted. That's it. Okay?
What you do is absolutely right. Take the book out there with you, and if they're using a flag you're not used to, just read it.
Yeah, make sure.
Because
I don't know. I have to look it up every time.
there's a couple of things that are not in the rule book that have been written in the past, but they're designed for sailing instructors. Would you like to go out there and race for 3 or 4 hours and get a very good position, only to get back to the club and find you were listed as OCS? Not nice. Not nice. So about 20 years ago, I started playing with an idea with skips, in that if you were over the line early, there was your windward mark, and I had another one 200 metres further up, and sitting here was a mark boat. Individual recall flag went up. I would radio him and saying 3, 7 and 19 all over early. He put it on his big board, 3, 7 and 19, showing they were over early. They were then obliged to go up to here. We had 2 alternatives up there. One, just go up there and rejoin the race. The other one was go up there until the race officer releases you. And the other option was go up and stay there until the last boat goes round here. write it into the sailing instructions, you can do it. You can do it. Something else you can do with penalties. Just because two boats are hit, under the rules, it says disqualification unless some other penalty applies. Provided you write into the sailing instructions an alternative penalty system, like 30%, 50%, 70%, you can apply that. The jury can apply it, but it's got to be written into the sailing instructions, and I recommend doing it. I don't think it's in the current version of the SI because some of the bureaucrats and technocrats, autocrats didn't like it and took it out. But it exists, the wording exists.
I hope I'm not stopping other people. I've got another question about start time, what's going on before the start. If there is a nice simple instance of port starboard offence, starboard tack has right away, port tack doesn't give him enough room, he's got to do a penalty. This is before the start. Does he do his penalty after the start or immediately? Before the start. At what time does this apply?
Before the start.
How long before the start?
5 minutes. You're racing within the 5 minutes.
It's the 5 minutes, yeah?
So you are racing from the 5 minutes.
5 minutes. So you can do, yeah.
That's the difference.
So you do your penalty before you start.
Have your incident, do your penalty.
Yeah. Okay. Jolly good.
Any others on that?
Isn't it to do the penalty
Try it
immediately?
again.
Isn't it to do the penalty immediately after
First reasonable opportunity.
Yeah, and just make sure that you're clear.
Yes, without obstructing any
Yeah,
other boat.
because
Yes.
maybe they're thinking that because there was an incident before. There was an incident before that they did not take their penalty immediately, and they did the penalty at the windward. So,
Yeah, you can't do
yeah,
that.
If you're sailing around the windward mark, you're coming into the windward mark, and you're halfway through putting up the spinnaker and you infringe somebody, you've got a reasonable opportunity to get rid of the spinnaker, get clear of the other boats and do your return. That's reasonable. Putting up your protest flag. I said earlier, immediate. The book says first reasonable opportunity. Most juries will consider that to be immediate. You don't want someone going in, oh, I put it up straight away. Tell me about straight away. Well, what happens is I keep it in this little bag. And this little bag always kept it in front of the boat, in the bow, and on this occasion it was under the spinnaker. And my wife always packs my lunch down there as well. So I have my lunch, my little bag where the flag is, and I went below to get the flag and put it up. First reasonable opportunity? Your wife might think so, but no. That is not the first reasonable opportunity. Have it there on second, start up immediately. Having put it up, do you have to protest? You have to go ahead with it. No, you don't. But having lodged it, you have to go ahead with it. Yes. And only then can you ask the jury to withdraw it. And they'll ask you why. And they'll look at why. And if they've had 27 protests that day, they'll probably mean, you should withdraw it. But if they're looking for a couple more hearings, they might want you to go ahead with it, even if they eventually find in your favour. Or? All right, I want to do one last thing that's come into my head. There's the finishing line, and you're coming into it, like so. What rules apply between boats? Sorry, think about this. There's a downwind mark. You know what rules apply between two boats with a downwind mark, yes?
Room to sail, of course.
What rules apply at a finish pin? And how do they differ from there? They don't. They don't. This is a windward mark where they apply. If there's a windward finish, what's the difference between the pin end and the windward mark? None. So whatever applies there or there applies to the finish pin. Near enough to similar to start out. Anything else? Because you're cooking lunch at the moment, aren't you? I don't have to go to They might be getting bored.
Any more questions, please?
Any subject. However, questions finished when we walk out. Please don't come up and ask me a question afterwards because everyone else is entitled to the dumb answer.
Can a boat be disqualified by the race committee without a protest?
No. Well, they can call them OCS.
What about the rule, I think it's 63, is it?
What's that say?
Okay, it's about when someone admits they have done an offence, they've committed an offence and they didn't exonerate themselves, what's written?
Only the jury, not the race committee.
Okay, it'd be okay. Can a committee, whether it's race committee, protest committee, or whatever, disqualify someone without there being a protest? Is there ever a situation?
Apart from OCS.
There's other ones, huh? I can get it out. Okay? Can I get it out? Separate? Oh, I'll talk privately to you about it.
No, not right.
No? Okay.
Everyone's got
Let me
it
bring
in
it
there.
out. Okay, hang on. It's written. Hang on, Peter. I've got it here. Hang on.
My question might be different.
Okay.
What if it's written into the SIs and the NOR
What's written
that the race committee can just anything like that, anything weird or strange, like the race committee can disqualify a boat or can finish a boat on course or or some other thing. If it's written into the NOR and the SIs that these sort of weird things are okay.
Weird things can happen. One weird thing, and I do this quite a bit, if you've got 3 races to run in one day and you've got a couple of very, very slow boats, like 18 out of 20 boats are finished and these other 2 are way back there. Send down a race committee boat and say, hey guy, you finished second last, you finished last, get yourself back up there. Yeah, so the race committee wants to run another race. It could be considered an improper action, and if you consider it improper action, take it to the jury, and the jury will say, well, where were you running in the race at the time? Last. Take it. Where did you actually finish? Last. Good. Where were you materially prejudiced by the race? You weren't. And I'll often say to members of my race committees, watch this, I'm about to create an improper action. I do it. But make sure no one can get your redress against you for doing it. Make sure it's in the best interest of the competitor when you do it. And getting slow coaches back is in the best interest. I started a race in the Olympics. We had those things that look like lasers, but they're not. The next slide's up.
Lasers that are.
Anyway, we finished the race. We had one more to go. Somebody's drifting way off. We're off the coast of Sydney. 500 metres. What the hell is he doing? He protested. Put in a request for redress against the race committee because we didn't wait for him. Dragged into the jury room 3 times that day. The only time in the Sydney Olympics. One day, 3 times, 3 protests, 3 requests for redress. He came in, he put it to, well, I had to get my wetsuit on because I was going for a pee. And where did you come in the race before? Oh, 3rd last. So the race committee was almost ready to start another race. You decided to get your wetsuit off and drift off down the track in what you knew to be a south-flowing current at 4 knots. It'll be 15 minutes away when the race officers went to start the race. No, request dismissed. They didn't wait for anything to happen. We like this OCS. The medal race, the very last race for the, was it last the American side? Bigger than the English. Star class. The race for the star class, and the American was leading before going into the last race. I'm at my end with my tape recorder, behind me is my backup line sider with his tape recorder, at the other end was a Canadian who was, in those days we had to have some international come in and watch us, even though we were international, and he had a backup. All called the American OCS. It wasn't by much, it was OCS. Possibly world champion, possibly golf. It was all there on tape recorders. He came up to us after and said, was I over by much, sir? You've got it right. There's the tape recorder. One from the other and half that. Thank you. Just went away crying, nothing to do with that. We've got to do it. When someone's over, you've got to talk. I was there another day when the race officer said, oh my God, I've just called my girlfriend over.
Okay, so the situation is, yes, a boat or competitor shall not be penalised without protest, okay?
Yes.
Except, and the except you mentioned were the ones being on course side, which there's 3 rules
Yeah.
affected there. Plus, I've got to read it out, it's 64.5b amongst 64 which states if a competitor admits to a indiscretion I suppose it is, breaks the rules, okay? Yes, a penalty can be given by whichever committee you're talking about, protest committee, okay? Have you come across that before, where a competitor declares, and therefore they are disqualified? And that's right, okay? Yeah. And it's got to be in writing, it says, actually, as well. So. Okay. All right, just say if you've heard of that.
What if there was a boat that did crime? Okay?
Did what?
They did the crime.
Can you hear this?
They crashed into another.
Two boats had a collision, yeah.
But the one that was hit was so surprised that
The one that was hit was so surprised they did not protest. So this other boat took off without doing penalty.
And the question is,
Are they allowed to do that?
what they like?
They can get away with it
But if the other boat doesn't protest, you can get away with anything.
because the other boat was surprised.
If there's no protest, what? If there's nobody protests, there's no protest. Doesn't matter how hard you hit. You're out there on lasers, and the laser runs into one other laser. He capsizes. There's no hail of protest. Capsizes. Rescue boat comes along, picks him up, drags him off to hospital. He's unconscious for 3 days, and he wakes up, and the first thing he says is, protest. Is that reasonable opportunity? Absolutely yes.
Oh.
Of course it is. He's knocked unconscious and taken off to hospital. The last one I'll talk about was Rule 69, which used to be Rule, I forget the old number. Do you remember the old number?
I was never involved.
But it was changed because some week in the UK decided that unsportsmanlike behaviour should be Rule 69. And Rule 69 is one of those rules where you can bring a lawyer in, and I recommend very strongly that you have international judges present because it's a difficult rule to handle, and the consequences can be disqualification for a year, 10 years, and anything like that goes to world sailing and you could be gone if it's bad enough. Now, after that fatal race in Sydney Hobart when 6 sailors died, I was both the PRO and the jury chairman, which is done. They've never done it since then. It was an international jury. They've always had international since then. The 6 guys died. Quite separately to that, someone was called to help, and he didn't help. His name was Purcell. He didn't go to the assistance. His argument was, hey, anyone knew about that race? We had a cell developed right in Bass Strait that developed from almost nothing into the wildest possible storm you can imagine, and 12 hours later died. It wasn't forecast at the start, and it happened. And somewhere back here, this guy was involved in being asked to rescue someone, and he didn't. The Cruising Yacht Club hierarchy said, right, Mark, we want you to hold the Rule 69 against him. I said, no. Why? Because I didn't believe anyone could win. Okay? So you've got to do it. No, I resign, the jury chairman, get someone else to do it. They got another guy to do it, and guess what happened? $200,000 to the lawyers, each on both sides, and the thing was thrown out. It was ludicrous. You can't ask somebody who's in peril themselves what their boat is more peril to rescue something. You can't do it. Just stupid. But we're about to wind up and go to lunch. At 2 o'clock we're coming back to talk about race management. There'll be people especially interested in race management. And a few others, and a couple of coaches I know are very interested in race management. It's a fabulous subject. I like it a lot. Anyone who's just a sailor who would like to hear it, please come and sit down with us and listen in. You'll learn what race officers do to you. It may not go as long as this, but 1 o'clock. What time, Peter? 2 o'clock. We're back at 2 o'clock. Please, no questions during my lunch break. Come back at 2 o'clock and ask them if you want to, because everyone needs to hear the answer. It's only fair. All right. Got a fabulous group. Thank you very much.
Thank you.